Right. Ready, straight now.
I'll send you some different stretches and some videos.
There's always something going on down at East Leagues Club. Check out this Drysdale brasserie option. 2 for $25, pizza or any 2 bang meals. And membership is still only $2. Come down to East where we're just having a great time. The 2019 Grand Final winner odds, with East Tigers at $6. Meanwhile, Northern Pride is sitting at $17 to finish off this season. Following up at the end is the E&G Hunters at $126.
How about the facts in black and white, getting your loved ones home safely?
Fixed price fare, that's what I love.
Black and white cabs, 133 222. Book on the app or online. Everything's better in black and white.
Toner's Travel & Cruise has been offering tailor-made honeymoons for approximately 25 years. Since then, they've built an impeccable reputation on delivering inspiring honeymoons custom designed for each couple, no matter how unique or romantic.
Yeah, I'm right. Right.
Well, welcome back to Langlands Park for the second half of what's been so far quite an entertaining game. 6-all at half time between the Redcliffe Dolphins and the East Tigers. And as you would expect, a match that can go either way. There hasn't been a dominance by any means of either side. There's been a few errors that the Tigers have been able to defend, which has been a big plus. Okay, kick off the second half. Donovan takes it initially. Charging run back into the defensive line, the Tigers. Plenty of defenders. That's the toughest run in the game, wasn't it, from the kickoff?
Well, it's the toughest run, Dave, and it makes made even tougher if you don't attempt to sidestep.
Yeah.
If you've got a sidestep and you're a winger, you should be able to sidestep. Why just put your head straight at him like a missile?
We thought he was a front rower.
I can't believe with the collisions we're seeing in the game now that anyone runs straight at anyone if they've got any ability to try and put a step on.
Hands away, better.
Front rower sidestep, just straight ahead.
Because what it is a recipe to cough the ball up. Nothing more.
Especially because you've got such a distance the defence has got to line you up.
Yeah, exactly.
The actual the forces in that tackle is bigger than anyone that you'll get in this situation.
It's a suicide mission with nothing much to be gained.
Donovan puts it down. Well taken there by Kenny. And he brings it... he's in a bit of trouble actually, Kenny. Looks like he's been switched to possibly the left wing, Kenny, because Tom Hughes went off injured. So Kenny and Newman, there's Shane Newman now trying to work his way out of his own territory. They're playing left side. Very important. Here's Amy. Good, strong, charging run. As well from a standing start, and plenty of defence coming up toward him. Ralph does like to go across field and tries to look back on the inside up there to Kafusi. Didn't have enough room then to get away from Whitchurch. Run out of dummy half there by Walters. Does well to go straight up the middle. And support here by Booth on the inside. Oh, he throws the dummy. He's going to get away with it, Walters. All the way. Fires it on the outside. Picked up there by Danzy Waters. Smaller, I should say. Good work here from the Tigers to go the length of the field. Pass up this time to Leslie. Leslie plays it up here to Ralph. Crossfield kick, dangerous. Kenny's got a good chance to take it. Lost it behind him in a touch. Well, that's some great opportunities there. The Tigers. Warren, what about Billy Walters? Dummy, why would you do it with a player cruising on your inside in Aaron Booth?
Yeah, I don't think it was the smartest choice. It was a great run by Billy Walters through some soft-as defence, some very weak defence, just a bit of an arm grab from a couple of Redcliffe players in the middle of the ruck. Once Billy Walters changed direction, headed for the space, they didn't cover him at all. But a great run by really should have passed to his left, got away with it, did pass to his right, and had support, some good support too. Bennett Leslie was down there as well as Danzy Smaller, but in the end that mistake right out there on the touchline.
Run out of dummy up there by Booth. Can he go all the way? He's lost it straight up. First tackle. Well, the Tigers will rue the opportunities they've had.
9 goals. Yeah.
You cannot possibly keep turning possession over. Opportunity was created there by Booth running out of the base of the scrum and appeared to have a bit of a gap to work in, and then when confronted lost the ball and lost it well forward.
Billy Walters is the master of doing the unpredictable. That's one of his strengths, but sometimes it's a good idea to do the orthodox, Dave. Particularly, I'm just not sure who loomed up on his left, but he
Booth.
Was it
Aaron Booth?
Well,
and he's a hooker, but
he's fast.
He's got some pace. Now the Dolphins, they'll be breathing a huge sigh of relief. Whitchurch runs out on that left-hand side. Kafusi makes a strong tackle.
Hold it, go.
Now the dummy half there by Hawkins. He does very well. Gets it right up to the 40-metre line. You can't afford to relax. The Tigers have made it easy for them to get out of their own territory, and that's exactly what the Dolphins have done, almost up to the halfway line in 3 tackles from inside their own territory. Another charging run. You've got to put some strong resistance here if it's an easy roll.
It's on the
Run
chest.
there by Brown, Taylor Brown, last tackle. Good position to launch a kick from Donovan. Donovan goes down a blind side, chips it over. Cooper under a bit of pressure. Doesn't take it when players were coming through to put pressure on him. Punishing tackle there by Turpin to come in. I won't say it was late, he was held in the tackle, but he certainly came in and provided some big impetus. John in there to help make the tackle to number 14, along with Flack.
Yeah, this grand final rematch from 2018. The victors, of course, on that occasion, Redcliffe. Right now, 6-all. We could have a grand final style finish to this game if it stays as close as this right throughout.
John Puna there was infringed by being held down in the play the ball, and therefore a chance now again from the Tigers.
Just by the way, I think the survivors from the grand final, I think there's only 5 in the East 17 today, and Redcliffe have got 7.
That's the way of the world these days. This isn't a destination, the Q Cup or the Intra Super Cup. It's a pathway, and there's plenty of players looking for a pathway. Ralph looking for a pathway straight up the middle of the field, does pretty well. What I like about Josh Ralph, sometimes he goes up dry gullies, but he always is running and looking where the gaps are. Walters, pass on the outside there to Svensson. Svensson does pretty well to, no, it wasn't Svensson, it was
Leslie,
Leslie coming out on that right side. Walters juggles for a moment. Dancing run there by Tuolangi. The Tigers, good position here. We've got a couple more to play with Booth. They'll go down a blind side through Walters. A little rubber kick through. Here's a good one too. Waiting for it nicely. And that's Kafusi. Well done, Billy Walters. Well, he didn't have his wits about him, I didn't think, when he made that great break before and failed to look for support, but he certainly had his wits about him there. He's a threatening player, Walters, always thinking about something that he can put on. Does well there to go at the line through, which good players make. It isn't always that easy. And then it was Tuolangi, I should say Kafusi, who came through and was just waiting for it to bounce up into his arms and basically place it straight over the try line. So good work from the Tigers.
He has a beautiful short kicking game, Billy Walters. He rolls those grubbers in repeatedly with success, and particularly when he's got the more attacking mindset on them. And well, that was just beautifully judged. Saw the space in behind, and Kafusi arrived well before the ball, really. That was how quick he got there.
Yep. And the two Melbourne, there's Walters' little dribble kick onto his foot there. Kafusi just waiting for it to pop up into his arms. Of course, both those guys train all week with the Melbourne club, and then come up here very late in the week, maybe a day before the game at best sometimes. So they would have a lot of work together. So that little cohesion, little dribble kick through, rolling it off the top of your foot by Walters and Kafusi, anticipating and then just being patient for it to bounce up into his arms. This game is going to be close, so Aaron Booth to try and convert and kick it out to another 6-point lead. Not a difficult
The referee was counting down the clock on this kick.
Missed it.
He's missed it, yes, from a handy position. Could come back to worry them. 4-point lead for the Tigers, 10-6. The referee there's a shot clock on all the kicks now. Now he's saying you've got 10 seconds to go. 9, 8, 7. Booth is still at the back of his mark. He says 0. And then he blows time off. So all it is achieved by that shot clock is stopping the game so the spectators don't lose some of their 80 minutes. It doesn't put any pressure on the kicker to kick it.
No. And is that what happens actually in the NRL as well? That I thought there was a penalty coming out of those.
Well, lately, the number of times we've seen, I couldn't quite understand what was happening, as you say, in the NRL. The number of times the shot clock has obviously expired and then the referee doesn't seem to take any action. But if my interpretation of what just happened, that's what it's all about.
And I guess that could well be the case, or obviously is the case when it comes to a conversion. But if it comes to goal line dropouts and the like, they can actually lose the advantage.
Well, you would hope that they would take action in that position.
Yeah.
But then the spectators want to see someone line up a conversion for 90 seconds.
That's right. it's there, but the primary purpose is to get him to hurry up and get it done within that time. Loose play the ball, and it's going to be a penalty to the Tigers. It could have been a little bit fortuitous. Wasn't a very good clean play the ball by, I think, Amy. But the penalty has gone to the Tigers, and at 10 points to 6, that's a pretty handy situation to go on the attack. And that's exactly what will happen. Let's see what the Tigers can do from here. This time Svensson steadies it up, gets it to 20 metres in from the touchline.
Looks like he's added a few kilos this year, Jack Svensson. Looks very strong.
Ralph goes across the line, which he likes to do up there to Walters. Walters to Kafusi, little pop back to Cooper, but the timing wasn't right. The idea was good. Again, one of those favourite little plays where that runner, which was Kafusi, then will come and run and stop at the defensive line, turn his back to try and pop it back to a looping fullback. All the ideas were right, but the timing wasn't.
Second time Cooper's dropped the ball today. The first time, though, wasn't a great pass from Billy Walters when Walters made a break, which, you know, another one of those few opportunities in a pretty tight game here, which the Tigers didn't take. Defence is definitely winning today.
Yeah, been very strong, the defence, because they've needed to be. Both sides have surrendered a fair bit of possession, and they've been able to defend their positions. The Dolphins, Turpin, nicely done, fires the pass up there to Simpican. Simpican does well to get up over the 40-metre line. Good roll on here by the Dolphins. Turpin up there to Grant. Grant straight up the middle, looks for support, can't offload. Defence still getting back into position. Up there to Donovan. Donovan's got support, goes himself. Pretty tame result, really. He had opportunities to offload to Flack, but decided to take the line on. Pratt in there, a dummy half now, charging up the middle. Was that Taylor? I think it was, yes, Taylor it was. Donovan, ball's been knocked down. That'll be 6 to go if they can regain. Referee, is he signalled? I'm not so sure. Yes, he is now. So they've got another platform to attack from. Turpin straight up the middle. Good, strong defence then by Puna. In a dummy half there, Pratt. Up there to Grant. Tigers have been strong with their line defence, apart from one sad lapse. And what do we got here? Penalty. Little hand in the play the ball, I'd say. Trying to do two things, either create an error or slow things down. The Dolphins trailing by 4. They're definitely going to go with the attack play.
Third set in a row.
Up there to Turpin. So Turpin's still on there, even though Pratt now is playing at dummy half. I'll come back this side. Up there to Pax. Pax up then to Taylor. Taylor charges at the line. Defence has been strong. Svensson was one of those in there. Pratt looking after the dummy half roll. Turpin playing in the halves. First receiver. Up this time to Pax. Pax on the outside to Hopewadi. Fends away from one, fends another. Good strong defence in there. Coming in from Kafusi. Just what you'd expect. The inside-out play to shut him down. Pax standing up there to Grant. He's worked hard today too. The Tigers' defence has been overall pretty strong. Turpin back in there this time up there to Taylor. Good defence there by Svensson, and he's got it over the try line though. Well, I think it's Taylor who scored it. I thought Svensson had really hit him strongly, but close enough to the try line to come up with the points, and it could well put, I think it is Taylor, in James Taylor, it could well mean the Dolphins could hit the front for the first time today.
Well, there was a late offload in here from Jordan Grant near the post, which gave them a second shot at them, second phase play, and they swept to the right-hand side, and the Tigers have been forced to do a lot of tackling. Redcliffe got 6 more tackles, followed by a penalty, and eventually the Tigers haven't really missed the tackle so much as they've just cracked enough of them for the Dolphins to get over.
Well, they've been threatening the Dolphins, and as you say, we're on that little second phase play. It can make it a big difference, especially to well-constructed defences. That's what they don't like. They like to be in control.
And this kick to go ahead for the Dolphins at 10-all right now.
They have not been in front for the whole match, so this will get their noses in front. You'd think Donovan will knock this through. He pushes it out to the right, but gets it just inside the right-hand upright. And for the first time, the Dolphins now lead this match by 12 points to 10. And the Tigers, well, that'll give them a slightly different mindset. They led 6-0. They pulled it back to 6-all, the Dolphins. And then the Tigers got out to 10-6, and now 12-10 in favour of the Dolphins. So a very important try that for Redcliffe. And let's see if that will be a spark for the Tigers to become more creative. Floating ball then. This time the try scorer in Taylor trundles it back almost to the 20-metre line. There have been some very strong performances by the forwards in this particular match today. It's been a power game, none the least Jordan Grant. Pratt in at dummy half. Hopawati goes down that left-hand side. He's been threatening just as Kafusi has. And they basically gone head-to-head. Run out of dummy half, very effective too, up over the halfway line. That was Hawkins. Another good run here by Pratt. Last tackle play, the Tigers defence rolling back. They could run it if they wanted to. Bad pass though, puts it out the back. Lucky for someone to be out there to cover it. Behag, I think it was. This time Schultz. Schultz just throws it back on the ground. Last tackle, why not? High kick this one. Cooper under a little bit of pressure in that it was a high floating ball, but he does well. Didn't have any defenders nearby.
The danger signs for the Tigers are in the last 5 minutes, all of a sudden, now this penalty does help the Tigers big time. Offside inside the 10. But what we've seen in the last 5 minutes is some very quick ruck work, quick play the balls. All of a sudden, Redcliffe are making a lot of ground very quickly, quick play the balls, turning the Tigers around, and the Tigers have not been able to stem that flow. Penalty helps though.
It sure does, because that gets you out of your own territory very easily. Svensson just to try and settle it forward as he does. Booth will work dummy half. Ralph setting up on the right-hand side. They've got a stack of players on that right-hand side, about 10 players set up there on the open side. Ralph dummied one, brought another one back on the inside. Up to play it is Puna. They take down up there to Walters. Walters again offloads nicely. Can't offload. The last time it's gone loose. Picked up here by the Tigers. And they've done pretty well to regain possession and surge ahead. Good dashing run. Almost up to the real attack zone. Foster it was who played it there. Down to blindside Walters. Up there to Danzy Smaller. Dances around. Oh, he's going to go close to touch. He's in touch. Just when you wanted to finish the set of 6 with a good kick.
The words are in my mouth. They need a good finish to the set. Instead, over the sideline. Credit goes to the Dolphins for good driving tackling, but yeah, that's a mistake that shouldn't have been made by the Tigers.
It'll be costly for them when they look back. It was a chance to really continue some pressure and flirting with the touchline unnecessarily. So the only time you really should be bundled into touch in that or in any situation when you're going for the corner.
It's interesting the Dolphins have won 6 of their past 7 versus East, including 3 out of 4 at Langlands Park. So they're not scared of being at this ground. On the other hand, the Tigers have won 10 of their last 11 here, so they're not worried about it either. They're pretty happy at home.
Yeah, well, they won't be real happy at the moment because they're down by 2 points. Simbican, he does well to get it up over the 40, as you say, Warren. The Dolphins are really rolling well up the field. Powerful running. Nice work there by Turpin. He doesn't mind.
And I think Albert Vette's absence is starting to be noticed. I mean, he was plugging up the middle, but now they're going backwards, the Tigers. They don't seem to have the big men there.
No.
John Puna just made a tackle. He needs to get in and make some more.
Grant again. He is a big man, so he's been able to give them some forward momentum.
In fact, sorry, that was Kelma Tuolangi making 2 tackles in a row.
Long pass this time out to Pax. He'll try and put the little kick back over the top. Walters has a bit of a look around, then looks back at the ball. That's always difficult to do, Warren. He had a bit of an eye look at the ball, then he looked at what the defence were doing, and then found the ball again, which is sometimes tricky to do.
It is very risky, and he was looking into the sun, but he had great body position there, Billy Walters, as he went up and came down with it.
Cooper to work his way out of here. Well, the Tigers have got a good chance to at least get to a good kick here. 21 minutes still to go in the match, so there's plenty of time for either side to do some damage. Little pass up this time to Foster. Foster does well to get it on the outside.
Leslie,
a good break, got support back on the inside and on the outside. Shocking pass. Guernsey Smaller had no chance to get that. Knocked it back on the inside. Play on it is. Dolphins have got it. And once again, opportunities gone begging. Chances both inside and out.
well, he made it hard for himself after making the break there, Bennett Leslie. He decided to float the ball back over his shoulder to the right when he had two men on the inside to the left with an orthodox pass.
Yeah, looked at whether that pass actually got bumped as he tried to throw it, because it was a very strange loping pass as he threw it. They do well again, the Dolphins, to get it back inside territory. Flack it is.
And that was in exactly the same position on the field where Billy Walters blew one earlier.
Yep, so there's two in a row there when they've been out in open space. Taylor fires it up to Grant. Those two have just been absolute workhorses for the Dolphins. Pratt in a dummy half. Lets Taylor go. Up there to Pax it was, and then out to Hopewadi. Pax again. What a terrible pass. He didn't even find Fax. He was there ready to...
Pretty good bomb though. Hughes or Cooper.
Cooper does well. He's been pretty good with the high ball, Matt Cooper. Admittedly, the chasers haven't been right on him. Dancing run. Keep it over their own turf. It might be Kenny.
So a change made here for the Tigers with Amy coming on and Tuolangi off. So Tyrone Amy's been given the job of trying to bolster the middle.
Working out of the dummy half, and that is Amy, I think. So he's evasive, and he's also capable of offloading. Ralph fires the pass out. That's Leslie.
Short kick by Billy Walters. Well covered by Redcliffe.
Thought about the quick offload too, but they've got good field position here now, Redcliffe. They'd be more than happy to take that. Billy Walters rolled the dice again.
Whitchurch was awake.
And a penalty. This will make it even more advantageous for the Dolphins. This is a chance for them to skip away. Get their composure, don't need to rush anything here.
If it was a bit closer to the post, they might have been tempted to go for the two, but this is 46 metres out.
12-10, I think you're going to try and get the maximum, and they're in good shape to be able to do it too, the Dolphins. Let's see how they create for this particular play. Pax up there that time to Watts. The defence overall has been pretty strong, the Tigers. They'll need to be just as strong here. Pass up that time to Taylor. They're just settling here, the Dolphins. Donovan, first receiver. Got support, goes himself again. Donovan's done that a couple of times today, and he may have been better off served to offload. Maybe he will later on when they think that he's going to have a go at them again. Watts pretty close to the try line. 4 tackles, so they've still got 2 more to launch an attack. Looks pretty good on that left-hand side. Pass up this time to Pax. Got extras if they can make the most of a little grubber kick by Whitchurch. Had to be taken there by Cooper. And taken dead by Cooper as well. So well done by the Dolphins to force a restart of the tackle count down ultimately what was a pretty tight side by the time they got the footy there.
Yeah, that was a pretty smart grubber through by Whitchurch in the end. Put the pressure on Cooper at the back. He was forced to take it dead. They were just running out of room to move. Could have tried the pass to the winger, but decided to keep the pressure on. And at this stage of the game, I think that's a pretty good play.
Yeah, perfectly weighted kick it was. Okay. Bouncing ball can be awkward, and bounces a couple of times. They make sure they get a hold of it. Grant it is straight up the middle again. The Tigers clinging on here at the moment. Still a long way to go in this match. Taylor, geez, worked hard. Bounces off a couple. Good little fend initially, and a penalty. We'll be right in front. I wouldn't be taking the two if I were them. Got to go for broke here.
They're taking the tap.
This time Watts charges forward. That working the dummy half. This time to Donovan. Pax back on the inside to Hopewadi. Hopewadi cuts back, beats a couple of tackles, always dangerous if he can offload from there. Couldn't though. Good tackle in the end to pull him up in his tracks. Up there to Donovan. Donovan passes that long ball out. Couldn't be taken by Simpican. He bounces the ball in front of him and then just couldn't get the miracle pickup. And that was the chance the Tigers were looking for. Come back to the 20. And that may well be a 7-tackle set.
Yeah, they couldn't take the quick tap because the ball was passed back to the 20-metre line, not carried.
The Tigers need to keep their cool. There's no need to push passes in this situation. You just build to your favourite plays. Put a bit of pressure on, play with speed. Charging run up the middle. Might have been Leslie. He's an aggressive player in terms of his desire to get up quickly and play it. Ralph. And another offside. There's been an obstruction in the back play. There's a man down. I think it is...
Yeah, the referee saw the penalty, held off blowing the whistle. I think this is a late tackle.
Yeah, it would be. Foster, I think it
lack of discipline from the Dolphins.
There it is. There was late too. That's the one we're trying to eliminate, and it's gone on report.
He didn't hit him high. He hit him a fraction late.
He's a big man.
He had enough time just to take the edge off the tackle, and he didn't. He enjoyed putting him down. And big man on smaller man.
And the little guy had his back to him as well, and that's what they really have a look at, is just what was the body situations as well of the both players.
Was Grant penalised?
Now the Tigers through Amy. Good leg drive to keep working his way forward. Good charging run there by Levea. Walters, first receiver. Got pass up this time to Ralph. Dummies a couple. Can't get back inside and find any more space though. They've got players stacked on the left and only a few on the right. They're going to come left. Up this time to Foster. Foster out there to Cooper. Good strong defence it was too by Schultz to come up very quickly and shut that threat down. Up there to Foster. Ralph. Standing start there for Levea. Last tackle. Well, can they get an in-goal play? I don't think they've necessarily had one this half. Walters, little standard play up there to Ralph. Ralph does well to stand in the tackle. Little rubber kick. Will it stay in the in-goal area? He'll force the man to try and bring it back out and can't do it. Well done by the Tigers. I don't think they've done that too many times today, and it's restart the tackle count.
Yeah, exactly what is needed at this part of the game. 14 minutes to go. This is a gripping, tough encounter. Both teams have done a lot of work. Remember, the Tigers had to do a lot of tackling early in the game, and this is exactly what the Tigers needed. Force the repeat set, force the dropout, get the ball back, apply more pressure, keep the pressure on the Dolphins, and see if they can get the try to come from behind to hit the lead again.
Let's see what they can do with it, the Tigers, because one of the opportunities is to, with back-to-back sixes, is the defence is really puffing at this stage of the game. So you've got a vulnerable defence, back-to-back six.
Looks like a HIA in the background there for one of the Redcliffe forwards. Remember, there was a fair bit of attrition in the first half. The Tigers lost Vete and also Hughes just before half-time. Short kickoff.
Could be a bit of pressure on here. Good chase also by the Dolphins. Knocked forward by Dolphins, I think. Yes, it was. And that will mean the Tigers will get loose head and feed. The Tigers have only got 2 on their bench at the moment, I think, so they've going to come under a bit more pressure.
And remembering too, the Dolphins lost Pereira, the centre, in the first half. So both teams down on troops in certainly what is a game where they would have liked to have had a full 17.
You see this so often these days. All the players set up on the open side of the scrum, so the Tigers are going to have got all their eggs in one basket. It still forces the blindside winger to stay where he is in defence. Ralph lets a couple go, fires it up there to Cooper. Cooper sliding across, starts again, but the defence, particularly Schultz, could not be foiled. Kenny at dummy half. Ralph does like to go across field, up there to Svensson. Not quite had the precision they wanted there. Svensson wrapped up, so can't offload. Foster. Ralph. Little pass up, but put a lot of pressure on his receiver. where you really got to have your favourite plays. A couple of dummy runners, let one go. Walters out to Kafusi. He was like a magnet. They came at him, Kafusi. There's 4 players at him, even though he was one pass off the ruck. Up this time to Walters. Dummies the kick, and they come in quickly to wrap him up. Last tackle. Can they get an in-goal again? Ralph's got to be the man because Walters has been the one tackled there. Here's Ralph. Goes to the line, goes straight ahead. Foster chasing, just knocked dead by the Dolphins. Knocked dead by the Dolphins. Another restart of the goal line dropout, so they'll get 3 sets in a row here, the Tigers. And that is exhausting for the defenders.
Yeah, excellent work from the Tigers again. Fine grubber, 2 players chasing, and they weren't far away either. By the way, the player who had to leave the field for the Dolphins was James Taylor. I'm pretty sure it's a HIA. I don't know that he'll be back with 13 minutes to go.
Got a man down as well. Now, here's the replay. Now, Ralph does well. He has to thread the needle and kick it forward. So the danger then is, one is you won't get it through the line. But secondly, the situation is he could kick it too far. Steps back on the inside. Very, very good kick. Plenty of pressure coming through too by Cooper. And just knocked dead. Cooper it was who copped a bit of a bump in that play. And he's slow back into position. Be a welcome breather for the Dolphins. Another shortish kick, although that should carry quite comfortably to Danzy Smaller. Oh, that was highest by Hopewadi, but he'll get away with it. No, he won't. No, he won't. Hopewadi on Danzy Smaller.
Well, do the Tigers take the 2 to level the scores?
Well, the trainer is running over to say, yes, that's what they want to do. I don't necessarily agree with it. It's kickable. How far are we there, Warren? We're about...
it's 23 metres back and about 20 metres in from touch.
Okay, well, that's certainly gettable. There's the high tackle by Hopewadi on Danzy Smaller. Looks like Cooper's down again, so he's got a bit of a ankle or foot problem. Presumably they don't stop the game for this. They'd allow the kicker to set up ready to... and it looks like Aaron Booth will be doing exactly that. Now, he hasn't kicked all that well today. Certainly missed one conversion.
1 from 2, I think. 1 from 2 for Booth. Because it's interesting, this season he's been given the kicking duties on a weekly basis, even when Billy Walters is in the side.
Okay, well, I think he's been pretty successful this year. His success rate's been pretty good. But this one comes with just that little bit of extra pressure to tie the game up. We don't have golden point in the Intrust Super Cup, but we've still got 12 minutes to go, so a lot of football in this game.
Needs to kick it dead.
Yes, well,
get the 2 even better.
He should do that. Let's have a close look at where the touch judges move. They're your best indicator. They'll run to the post where it's closest to, and he's missed it.
Missed it, but they will get the dropout back to them.
It'll be a 20-metre dropout though, so this will give them the ball right back in their own territory, and a few of the players weren't aware. They thought they had a 20-metre tap, so people now are only jogging back to get ready for what will be a long kick downfield. I don't think they're far enough back yet.
Such a rarity.
Wobbly old kick, so that'll suit the Tigers on a second bounce. Now the Tigers... Number 15 is Tuolangi.
Such a rarity that you take a penalty goal attempt and miss.
It was a slightly wideish angle. Amy does like to get up there and bump and turn. Often put on his back, so I slow play the ball. Foster, little man, fresh because he's been on the bench for a large part of the game. Walters, he's going to try and control things. Does well to pop it up there to Tuolangi. Almost puts him through. Again, the Melbourne connection, trying to use a little bit of their teamwork. Ralph back on the inside again. Was that Walters? I think it was. The defence closing out pretty quickly. You've got to be really sharp with those inside passes, otherwise the defence will crunch you. Little kick there by Ralph. Does well again. Just puts it near the goal post, and that made it difficult for the defenders. And they've managed again, the Dolphins, to well, save the day, at least for the moment.
The fullback Behag onto that short kick. A good kick too from Ralph, but absolutely nailed. Is that Jack Svensson hit him right alongside the upright? A powerful tackle.
Here it is again. Ralph does well to kick straight forward. There's plenty of pressure on.
That was Amy, I think. Amy got him.
Well, another goal line dropout. This would have to be at least 3, if not 4. They're going to try he's come off the side of the boot, straight to Foster. Does well to go to ground. Good work there by Foster. He could have been creamed if he stood tall up against Pratt then. Ralph. Up this time to Shane Newman. Shane Newman throws a bit of a dummy. Had created space for players inside and out there, but when going forward into the defence, Ralph, that'll make things difficult. Pass up this time to Amy. But it can't offload. He's normally very good at it, but he was under pressure. Foster up there to Walters. Walters to Kafusi. Kafusi can't bust that tackle as he did a couple of times in the first half. Good quick play the ball though. He does that so well. Pass up to Tuolangi. He'll take some stopping, and guess what? They can't stop him. Kelmar Tuolangi charges straight at the line. Was it Tuolangi? I think it was.
It's a lovely short ball from Aaron Booth. Came out of dummy half. Hit him short. Close.
This had Melbourne written all over it. This is what Melbourne are good at. Standing flat there and bang, straight for that guy. They take a bit of stopping. Tigers have been renowned. I know the game a couple of weeks ago, Warren, that I saw, the Channel 9 game, the Capras, they scored about 4 or 5 of their tries, the Tigers, from exactly that play. Punching straight at the line.
Well, when you've got a big man running onto it, it's so close to the line, the defenders coming off that line have got so little room to move, so little room to hit the target effectively. You've got to be in front to stop him when the timing is so good. And that's a lovely play by Booth Tuolangi. Not very spectacular, but highly effective. Tigers leading 14 points to 12 now with a kick to come. So the Tigers, who had led through, it was 6-all at half time, and then the Tigers leading at 10-6 before Redcliffe took over 12-10. And suddenly now, with 8 minutes remaining, the Tigers back in front. Kick to come.
They finally got some results from the number of goal line dropouts they've forced in the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Well, it was 3 goal line dropouts plus that penalty goal attempt, which they then had to drop out again.
And what about the tactic, Warren, of kicking short? It's interesting, they've sort of kicked medium a couple of times, and then that one there went off the side of the boot, and Foster took it pretty close to the try line, so it puts them under immediate pressure. I know even if you kick long, the side will run you back to probably 25 metres out, but now a chance for Booth. Just to give a little...
Is this Foster, I think?
Oh, it is too.
It's Foster.
Oh, Booth's in trouble. Booth's one has been treated. He tried to run back into position. He's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Booth is in big trouble. Foster, left foot, shouldn't be a problem. Puts it over. So the Tigers now out to 16 points to 12. It ain't over yet because we've only, what have you got? About 7.5 minutes to go. But there's 4 points in it. That's not a winning lead by any means. Shame to see Aaron Booth coming off there. Well, the Tigers must be really thin on the bench.
Yeah, it looks as if it could even be a calf muscle injury or something in his lower leg. He looks to be hobbling.
No short kick-off here. Big, long one downfield. Taken there nicely by Ralph. Up there to Amy. Amy, well, what you've got to do here now is no errors. Super careful. Don't play slow though, although Amy wasn't doing that intentionally, I'm sure. You still got to play the ball quickly, otherwise you'll get hammered every time you run it. That's not how you burn the clock up now. Amy at them again. No, it wasn't. That time it was, yes it was Amy. He does pretty well. Gee, he's got strong leg drive. Does well to keep forging his way forward. Pass up this time to Walters, out there to Kafusi. Kafusi bumps out of one, does well to keep it alive, but good defence to rush in and shut down that threat on the right-hand side.
Great tackle from Simbican there.
Kafusi again, bustling, hustling play. Scored a try himself, Kafusi, and has been very dangerous on many occasions. Billy Walters punches it downfield, won't get it past Behag though, and this is the chance the Dolphins have been hungering for. They've been on the back foot for the last 15 minutes. Sure, they got to a lead of 12 points to 10, but since then they've been on the back foot. They'd like to get a bit of front foot play and give themselves a genuine chance to eliminate this 4-point deficit. Simbican does well again. Gee, they do well on, I used to call them steel meters, but they like to call them post-contact meters these days. And that is after the first touch of a defender. If you can keep your leg drive going and pick up those extra meters, you can make a big difference. And they all add up. This time, Turpin, I like the way he's been called on to play as an extra forward, and he's done well. Takes it to the line. Donovan goes to the line. Little chip over the top. Another test here for Cooper. No, he won't get to it. The number 4 and Schulter's got a hold of it. It'll be 6 tackles. They elected in a somewhat dangerous play, Warren, to let the opposition catch it. Schultz could have perhaps tried to bat it back, and that could keep things alive.
Yeah, it's a huge risk to allow the opposition to make the play, but the Tigers have got it. Much needed possession with 5 minutes to go now.
So the pressure building on both sides. You can't ease off for a moment. If they try and work their way, make sure. That's just what they didn't want to do. A penalty in possession. That is a massive penalty to give away. He didn't get up to play it properly. There could well have been a hand on him to prevent him from doing that, but you just don't bring the referee into the game. Johnny Lang played here for many years, and he's coaching. He always said, keep the referee out of the game. Don't bring him into it. And guess what? The Tigers have brought the referee into it and the Dolphins into it. Watch up there to Hopewadi tries to step around a couple, can't get through, but they have opened up a big open side. They've got plenty. Hopewadi's injured. Well, he did dance around a bit and then ultimately got wrapped up.
He's had a good game, Hopewadi.
Hopefully it's just a cramp. I think it is by the way he's lifting his leg up like that to get it stretched.
He's got Whitchurch with him and Hawkins. It was Hawkins actually made that good tackle before on that side of the field.
Great setup here by the Dolphins. They've got double line right across the field. No longer do you have one single back line. You have staggered. So you got options. You got dummy runners and then
bad pass.
Shocker. All the opportunities have been absolutely lost there. Turpin will keep it alive though. Does well. They keep it alive. It's going to be dangerous. Little work there by Watts. Pratt in a dummy half. Up there to Donovan. He can create something. Good pass as well. Oh, he's lost it forward. Flack it was. Did he lose it forward or was it stripped out? Lost forward by the Dolphins. Big call that one. And the Tigers, well, they've got a great chance now. Loose head and feed.
Well, they've had 3 or 4 chances in that corner in this half. Redcliffe, which they have not been able to capitalise on.
There's a genuine chance this too. He was through. And good work by the little halfback in Ralph. He's had a good game today, Ralph. He's very busy. And sometimes busy players get themselves tied in a bit of a knot. But I think Ralph, a lot of occasions, has played and picked the right option.
I'm sure Flack still had tackles up his sleeve there too. He didn't have to throw that miracle pass.
Yep.
Tried to flick it away.
He may have just been losing. I wasn't sure that he had full control, but you're right, Warren. There were opportunities still available to them. Now the Tigers. Amy, what a workhorse this young guy is. He was man of the match last week, and he's again had another very good game. Billy Walters, little dummy on the inside, goes back on the outside.
Lost it.
Oh, here's the chance now for the Dolphins, just when you could have shut the door on them. Oh. He's lost it as well. That's got to be play on. Oh, he's going to go back.
He said there's no advantage. He's going back to the Walters loss.
Wow, how far do you have to go? There was at least a couple of passes in there.
The question is how far sideways or how far forwards? They went nowhere. They went 0 metres forward, but 15 metres wide.
I think what the referees generally do now is they actually say, was there an advantage? In other words, they got the ball in a disadvantaged position from a loose play, and did they ever really get on the attack, or is this a better situation for them? Well, this is certainly better for the... careful kicking out.
I've got to say, personally, David, I think there was an advantage taken there by Redcliffe, but the referees will often go back to the first error.
They do more of it these days than what we used to do in the old days. Once you passed, it was certainly advantage taken. Another shocking pass out there to Whitchurch. Did he knock it on? Well, what is going on at the base of that scrum there? They were perfectly set up. Look at the pointing that's going on too, and I don't blame them. You've got every reason to blow up in this situation. I don't know who was. Let's have a look at it. Turpin. Well, he's the dummy half. And he threw it over the head of Donovan. and Whitchurch couldn't handle it, and you can't blame him.
And look, this is a time for leadership out there and for cool heads, for experienced heads to get a grip on their teams. You've got the Tigers giving away a penalty in possession, trying to hang on to their lead.
Yep.
You've got players being stripped for the Tigers being stripped when they've got to hang on to the ball. And then you've got some woeful passes from Redcliffe. This is a schmozzle the last couple of minutes when it should be the best of the game.
Well, can the Tigers now close it out? Let's see. They all talk about the good game managers can close out a game. So you've got Billy Walters and also Josh Ralph. Don't play slow, boys, because that's what will happen. You get bashed. You've got to play the ball quickly here. And then, again, they're getting hammered in the middle. You've got to get to a good kick. If you're not going to get too much territory out of this, slow play the ball is just going to have the defence rushing up and kabang. Just over the advantage line. The Tigers have pretty much gone nowhere, and unless they get a good kick off the back of this, Ralph puts it back on the inside. Well, at least they've held possession. Last tackle play.
90 seconds to go.
Well, Walters has come across to this left-hand side. Ralph is going to be the first kicker, though. He punches for the corner. Picked up there by Walters. Play on it is. Up there to Ralph. He's knocked it on. Wow. The Tigers, they had every chance off the rebound. Walters passed it back on the inside. Ralph just couldn't handle it. Wasn't the perfect pass, but it was an opportunity to shut it out. Here it is again. Ralph the rebound, so that could have gone anywhere. Walters, well, not a great pass there by Billy Walters.
He overthought it.
Yeah, and I overran it too. I think you've got to pull back a little bit. You burn your own time. Here he is. You've got to hold back. The
No, it's a
fullback
bad
read it
pass,
well.
David. He's passed behind him.
But he didn't even draw Behag as well. Behag left him and went straight across. So Walters threw the dummy earlier in the day when he shouldn't have that time. As it turned
I think
out.
Billy, he did pass a fraction earlier, but he just was determined to back into the fullback. He sort of swayed his body back into him to draw him to him, commit him to the tackle, but then the pass came out the back of Ralph, who may have been a slightly overrunning it, but any sort of a pass there and it's a try. And if it's not, better if Billy Walters just takes the tackle. The Tigers are leading by 4.
That's right. 1 minute to go. Well, if you like grandstand finishes, that's what you got here at Langlands Park this afternoon. Replay of last year's grand final. The Dolphins with one last hurrah. Little trick play at the base of the scrum. I think that's Hopawati, was it? Who came out of the base. They were trying to put him away down this right-hand side. The Tigers, sure, you've got to rush up in defence. You must get up off your line.
They're very bunched, Redcliffe.
And they don't want to leave it till the last. I'd be putting a play on right here and now. Packs out on that left-hand side. He's throwing his hands in the air, the halfback. He's finally going to get it, though. Pass on the outside. Good chance for the Dolphins to... it was Hawkins, I think, down that left-hand side. 4th tackle play. 2 to go. The match in the balance. Up this time to Grant. Grant fires it out the back. Makes through it. Up there to Donovan. Donovan on the outside. Schultz wrapped up there by Newman. The ball's gone forward. Well, Warren, you called it about the number of times players are being caught for forward passes. That will finalise the match score. 8 seconds up to half time. They're not even going to pack the scrum.
That happened in front of us, David. Did you think it was forward? I didn't instantly go, that's forward. I thought that was play on. I thought it was a flat ball. It's a long pass. There's the momentum of the players. That's play on any time. Fair dinkum. Referees just killed it off with 8 seconds to go. Now, I think East had them covered. I think East were going to shut it down.
Yep.
But Redcliffe should have been allowed to finish that play.
Yeah.
Fair dinkum. I didn't say it before, but this business of forward passes, I think they're gone over the top, the referees. I mean, I think if it's flat, let it go, and only if it's blatantly out of the hands forward. That was not out of the hands forward. It was sideways.
Yeah, and you get those ones where if you've got forward momentum, the ball can float forward as well and not be a forward pass.
Of course. The ball, when you're running, there's all the videos that they've done in the past. If you're running flat out and you just throw the ball up in the air, it lands 10 metres forward of where you threw it in the air because you're moving like a car.
I used to do that all the time, Ryan. All right, but having said all that, we've had a fantastic contest here this afternoon. The Tigers have come out winners by 16 points to 12 in a very, very hard-fought victory. For the first 15 minutes of the first half, they surrendered possession. They were under a lot of pressure. They defended their line really well, the Tigers, and then they finally came back. Here's a few highlights from that first half. And this was Vete. And Warren, as you said, had a very, very strong performance while he was on there. Didn't last all that long, but he was very powerful. The Tigers, when they get their full side on, and they do get the benefit of a few Melbourne players, fringe players, and Albert Vete is one of them. Billy Walters is another. Kelma Tuolangi, Patrick Kafusi. Those guys certainly bolstered this side, and well done by the Tigers. That now means 7 from 8 this year, which is a fantastic start in anybody's considerations. They've done particularly well. The Dolphins, they'd be concerned. They've got 2 from 8. They're the reigning premiers. They've been the top club for many, many years in terms of their ability to stay at the top of the competition table, or in the top of the table, not necessarily always at the top. So they would have some concerns, the Dolphins. They've had a very slow start to the season, and they'll be looking to improve. Now, they showed a number of, sparks today that would suggest that they'll be very competitive against a lot of sides for the remainder of the year. We're around about a third of the way into the Intrust Super Cup season for 2019, so there's still a long way to go, and the Dolphins are certainly capable of fighting their way back over an extended period.
Yeah, and last week they beat Tweed. Today they've gone down narrowly to a team coming second in the competition. Yep. So you wouldn't count Redcliffe because of the quality of the club. Patrick Kafusi looks like he's won the man of the match medal here.
I'd go along with that too. I think he's had a very, very good performance. He was very dangerous in the first half. There's Patrick Kafusi.
And this is a special medal for the Anzac Day commemorations here at Langlands Park today.
Well done, the committee men there who've been part of that medal presentation. Brian Torpey, the CEO of the East Tigers, and he's got a smile on his face, and why wouldn't he be? Because the side, I think this time last year, Warren, they might have been about 2 from 8. I think the Tigers, I can recall, they had a very slow start to the season, came home with a wet sail to make the grand final, and got pipped at the post by the Redcliffe Dolphins. But on this occasion, the Tigers have got off to a flying start, and they've done particularly well to go on with the job. And they were down. They lost the lead, didn't they? They were down 12 points to 10, came back to score the winning try, and then hung on. Good effort.
And look, you can't beat a start of the season for the Tigers of 7 wins, 1 loss. That's a magnificent start to have all of those points in the bank already. And from Redcliffe's point of view, well, that top 8 is a very generous top 8 in a 14-team competition. So you're not really out of it until you've lost a lot of games.
Yep, you have. So the Tigers, they'd be very, very happy with what they've done here today. There's some very good performances across the board. Kafusi was one. I was happy with the little halfback in Josh Ralph.
Very good.
Said Billy Walters. They had a couple of injuries. Both sides had injuries that they had to overcome. But I think the Tigers, one of the things I like about them, Warren, last year they got some resolve in defence too. They will hang in there. And I think that's been a feature of their play this year, if I compare it somewhat to last year.
Well, that was a tough game out there today, very gritty game. Defence was on top more often than attack, but good kicking game from both teams. I think the Tigers did deserve to win, but it was not much in it. Good game.
It was a good game. I thought the Dolphins, they disappointed me a little bit. I thought they'd be more creative in what they did, but they still made it a contest. And I guess if you're down on the bottom of the table, you've just got to graft out those sort of wins. So they weren't able to do it today, but there were some very positive features to their game. Young Corey Pax, the Bronco kid, I think he shows quite a bit of potential. The potential is one thing, you've got to be able to convert it, and none harder than for a young guy in a playmaking position. So here's a few of the other highlights from the match today, as the Dolphins put a lot of pressure on early when the Tigers were with their backs to the wall. They were defending stoutly.
Yeah, Ralph, I thought particularly very effective with that short kick on a number of occasions in both halves, really. forced a series of dropouts in the second half, which put Redcliffe back on their heels.
Aaron Booth just there, and also Tom Hughes. Both those players went off injured, so the Tigers will be hoping that...
And Albert Vete.
Albert Vete as well, so there's a few casualties.
And Isaiah Perez from the Dolphins. Injured.
Yep. Little play there by the Tigers with Walters firing it up to Kenny. It was a last tackle play. Newman there complaining about good long pass there by Ralph. That was out to Hughes again. That's where he got injured. I think that's where he hurt his ankle. But there was a fair bit of play sweeping from one end to the other. The forward battle was terrific, I thought. Both forwards really took each other on. This was a good team try created there ultimately for Hawkins with some good structured play around the back. Behag was involved, the two halves, Donovan and also Pax, but they couldn't, the Tigers. This is typical of what Kafusi did today too, bumping players off. You mentioned it too, Warren, that try by the Dolphins, that creative try. Really the defence, they seemed to stand back and watch it all rather than really contest where the ball was at. Little grubber kick through. This is where he throws the Hail Mary pass. It went off one of the Tigers, so it was a play-on situation. So there was plenty of sides or opportunities for both sides. Donovan, this take here by Cooper, he was put under a bit of, it varied a bit. He was under pressure a few times by the receivers, and other times he caught it cleanly himself. He had a pretty good game, Matt Cooper, and he's had a good...
there weren't too many drop balls at the back. The high kick was handled pretty well by both teams, to the point I think you could say that the kicks needed to be a little bit higher and the pressure coming through needed to be a bit fiercer.
Yep, beautiful little kick there by Walters. Kafusi reading it beautifully. As I say, they got that Melbourne connection. They train every day of the week down in Melbourne together. Booth just misses that one, and it looked at one stage that could be a costly miss, because soon after Redcliffe got out to 12 points to 10 lead. This fella Grant had a good game.
This is the offload from Grant.
Yeah, and they get a try from this up there to Taylor, and Taylor goes at them and does well after Svensson hit him, and you could see how he'd knocked him off balance, but at the same time James Taylor did very well to go on with the job. Punching efforts here, and just couldn't be handled. The pass out there.
2 or 3 of them in the second half on that right wing, which weren't finished. There was no polish on the end of that.
And then the Tigers, this is Ralph again, forced a number of goal line dropouts, and that was really the essence of them getting back to the lead, the Tigers. They showed great patience and composure by grubber kicking and then punching at the line there through Tuolungi. Those plays are often repelled, but it's subject to the tiredness of the defence and the positioning of the run play, and whatever deception can come without the back runners as well. So a very, very good try, and that could have been curtains there for the Tigers with the play the ball, not standing to his feet to play the ball. The Dolphins come back to try and have one last chance of getting across the line, and there it is, goes loose again. So as you can see, there were a number of opportunities they had, the Dolphins, and either some persistent defence and sometimes some not precise handling let them down. And there again, tackled. The ball was lost by Grant, but he was in the tackle, and then this terrible pass by Turpin.
These are the lowlights, not the highlights, this little passage.
Jake Turpin was asked to play as, a second rower, really, when Pratt came on at There's Walters. Doesn't pass that ball well at all. There was just a lack of communication between those two. Held up the pass too long, ended up floating forward. Ralph was pretty much overrunning it, but, and that was about with a minute to go. It could have let him back in.
So Dave, just before we go, just an update on the other match being played as we speak between the Townsville Blackhawks. They are leading the Capras, the Central Queensland Capras at Jack.